Good evening, meatheads. It's time to get a little bit salty this evening. That's right, we're going to talk about sodium intake in athletes and really in the general populace as well tonight in our Meathead Minute. Now, sodium intake's been getting a lot of pub lately in the strength world because of a certain diet that is not horizontal. Now, I'm not going to go into that diet specifically. That's for another time. That is, somebody else's IP. I'm not going to deal with it. But sodium intake is a big part of that, and everybody seems to be very, very obsessed with getting enough salt right now. Newsflash, guys. If you're eating a Western diet, you're getting enough salt. Bread, canned food, any of the sauces that you're putting on stuff, you are getting enough salt to sustain yourself as an athlete. Now, there are very rare cases in which you're not, if you're in a very humid environment and you're sweating an excessive amount. But even in those cases, if you're eating a Western diet, you are probably getting enough salt. Salt intake in athletes is very important, but it's only part of the equation. There are plenty of other electrolytes involved when it comes to performance. And for you to really get hyponatremic, and hyponatremic means not enough salt to the point where you actually have health problems and problems with your performance, for you to actually get there, you have to lose a ton of salt. And you are getting in enough with a Western diet, especially if you're in America. The overwhelming majority of our processed foods have tons of salt in them, to the point where a lot of us are actually probably getting too much. Now, do you have to worry too much about your salt intake if you're getting quote unquote too much for you? For most of you, I'd say no, but there are those people, and there's actually a pretty good number of them, where salt has a significant effect on their blood pressure. So if you have a high sodium diet and you seem to be having issues with your blood pressure, that might be something for you to take a look at. So I know that a lot of people are going to come back at this, you're going to cramp up if you don't have enough salt, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, and the other thing. One, even in sports medicine, we don't have an idea of what actually causes cramping. There's tons of theories, but we don't have a good handle on what actually causes muscle cramps. Salt is probably part of the equation, but like I said before, you're probably getting enough. Two, if your performance is being affected by the amount of salt that you're having, there are other factors in your performance that you can probably address that are more important. Now, all of that being said, if you were eating a completely unprocessed diet with no seasonings and you're not having any breads or canned foods or sauces or anything of that nature, sure, salt intake might be a bit of a consideration. If you're training in sub-Saharan Africa and you're in 100% humidity with 100-degree weather, okay, salt intake could be important. But for the majority of us, I wouldn't stress too much about it. So take a look at how much salt you're taking in, because one, it's probably enough, and for some of you, it may be too much. Keeping your blood pressure at a stable range for the long term is going to be really important for your health, regardless of what you're doing in sport. So just keep an eye on what you're intaking and don't stress too much about whether or not you're getting enough salt. All right, guys. So if you have any questions about that, please ask me. I'm happy to debate this ad nauseum because people are getting really hung up on how much sodium they need right now. All right, guys. I'll talk to you next time.